Greetings, this is Group 9's presentation. In this Power BI analysis, we will explore some critical insights into the sales performance of Đức Đạt Plastic Company. The purpose of this presentation is to provide a detailed analysis of their sales volume and how these volumes have grown or declined over a specific period in three specific areas: North, South, and international export. Let's begin with a brief overview about the datasets of this analysis. Due to the shortage of time, we will only focus on the overall trend and fluctuation of the total sales volumes of Đức Đạt Company and their key products, which is 202 sprayer. Moving back to the dataset, there are some key columns that will mainly be used in this analysis, which are xưởng, thị trường, năm, tháng, bình 202, and tổng sản lượng. Each of these columns will be used throughout the analysis in order to get the insights of sales volume of Đức Đạt Plastic Company. Moving back to the dashboard, each of these five first slides represent different functions in the sales analysis. The first one will represent the summary outlook of the sales volume and subsequently sales volumes specifically in month, trend analysis, growth of production hubs, and the analysis of 202 sprayer. Additionally, we want to bonus that we didn't get enough sales data for the year 2024 from Đức Đạt Company, so it will not be accounted from this analysis. And that's pretty much all the information. Let's move on to the next part presented by Kim.
So first, we are going to look at the total market size and the total quantity of the products that the company has sold to the market, which can reflect the effectiveness and the working quality of this company. So let's take a look at the bar chart showing the production per year to understand the historical performance and identify the key trends. So the bar charts illustrate the total volume of the products sold by Đức Đạt Plastic Company from 2012 to 2023. So the sales trend showed significant growth from 2012 is around 963,000 to a peak in 2020 is around 2,559,000. But after 2019, there's a gradual decline and it's just around 1,859,000 in 2023. So this suggests that the market expansion in earlier years followed by recent challenges or reduced demand. But despite a dip, the production remains pretty strong compared to the pre-2016. And to better understand about the plastic Đức Đạt market performance, let's take a closer look at the distribution of production across key regions and the export market. So the areas include the North, the South, and the export. So the South is around 13.69 million, accounts for 65.05%. The North is pretty smaller, just around 6.75 million, accounts for 32.07%, and the export is around 0.61 million, which is 2.88%. And the South dominates the sale volume, contributing more than half of total, followed by the North, while exports represent a very small fraction of overall sales. So after looking at the overall production across different markets, we're gonna focus on analyzing the total production in each region to better understand the changes and the contribution of each area to the company's performance. So about the general observations, both North and South in 2020 and 2021 are big production years. And the recent change is both regions have slightly decreased production after 2021, showing a need for new strategies to maintain the growth. And the exports is not focused a lot when look at companies suggesting their focusing is domestic. So after that, Đình Khang will present about the growth trends.
So let's start with the sheet code 202 sprayer. We can see that there was a peak in cell output in 2020 at over 1.9 million products and a gradual decrease on both sides of the peak. This specific trend in years after the COVID-19 pandemic possibly caused the peak. The severe devastation of the pandemic affected the whole country economy and tremendously impacted the sales output of industries, specifically this enterprise. This impact has pushed growth down to 1.2 million units in 2024, well even below 4 years before the peak of growth in 2020. Moreover, those last years witnessed a surge in the company export output that was largely due to the focus on boosting corporate export, with export output in 5 years since 2020 increasing sharply, showing that the company's orientation is gradually expanding to international markets. However, the impact of this growth in export output not only remain insignificant relative to total corporate output, but also accounted for the proportion equivalent to the previous period in each years after 2020. Looking closer into data chart, there were around 60% of sales output was contributed by the South market. More specifically, from 2012 to 2019, the contribution of the Southern region fluctuated from 55% to 60%. However, in the last few years, this number has increased continuously and almost reached a peak in the contribution rate to total output of more than 70%. While other aspects contributed fewer rate to the total cell output through reported years. To be more specific about the figures of the contribution output each year, let's look at the table of the specific contribution data for each year component by month, which is the 202 sprayer monthly. The sales output will mostly increase sharply in February, March, April, May, November, and December. It's the same for every year. And following will be telling you more about the detail of each segment.
So for the segment analysis, let's begin with the bar chart named tăng trưởng. Looking at the overall performance from 2012 to 2023, 2023, we can observe steady growth in total sale volume from 2012 to 2020, peaking at just above 2.5 million in 2020. But however, a clear decline start in 2021 with consecutive year-over-year YOY drops of 5.93%, 50.62%, and 8.45% in 2021, 2022, and 2023, respectively. This downward trend suggests challenges in maintaining momentum after 2020. External factors, market shift, or internal inefficiencies could have contributed to this decline. Now, let's take a look at the segment performance across two key regions, Tân Tạo and Từ Liêm. First, for the Tân Tạo, the top performance is achieved its peak in 2020 with a total sale volume of 1.66 million, reflecting a strong 16% YOY growth. But however, after 2020, The region experienced a steep decline with worldwide growth turning negative, minus 17.09% in 2020 and minus 6.52% in 2023. For the key insight, while Dengda was a top performing region during its peak, the consistent post 2020 declines highlights a need to investigate reasons behind the drop, such as COVID-19. And for the limb, the top performance, the limb saw its best year in 2020 with a worldwide growth of 1.947%, and sales reaching 799K, but for underperformance from 2021 onward, sales volume and worldwide growth declined steadily. By 2023, sales had dropped to 482K with a worldwide decrease of 17.55%. For the key insight, the consistent downward trajectory in the limb suggests deeper structural issues such as smaller size than Dengdao or misalignment with market demand. So based on these insights, here are the key recommendations for Dengdao. Revisit marketing and sales strategies to recapture lost momentum, and exploring potential new customer segment or product adoption. And for the limb, conduct in-depth market research to understand customer attrition, and considering restructuring operations or introducing new offering tailored to this market. And for overall, focus on replicating successful strategy from peaks years across of other segments and strengthen customer engagement and loyalty programs to sustain the growth. Next, we will go through part 5 presented by Bukang.
Thank you. I'll be covering from here on. According to the sheet, as mentioned previously, it was true that a continuous increase of manufacturing quantity occurred in the 2012 and 2020 time interval. The data also pinpoint that the growth speed is slow from 2012 to 2017 and a more prominent strong growth from 2017 to 2020. However, we do see that the slide occurred in 2020 to 2023 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The event adds in several challenges regarding sales to the manufacturing process and in particular, the company supply chain in general, leading directly to the downfall mentioned earlier. On the other hand, knowing this predicament, it could also open up for some opportunities. By looking at the overview sheet, one of such is to open more contracts linking with other companies as the total production had taken damage. To compensate for the missing revenue, short-term contracts should be considered as one of the approach. Additionally, when we look at the 202 sprayer sheet monthly, we could see that there is a seasonality within the data set. Now, we all know that there will be an increase in period before June to September and another jump afterwards. There is an opportunity. So it's about quality control that we had to enhance optimizing, and also production line now finds a suitable time for testing as the demand is low at the time, but revenue is also on the downside too. Therefore, challenges once again drag into the table. It's like two sides of the coin. How to resolve this? Well, actionable acts would be covered by the next presenter.
In the last part, I will emphasize and reminding about the key analysis within the dataset. Firstly, there has been an undeniable constant growth from 2012 up until 2020, while the following years took an overseas turn. The southern market is more prominent to the north, and hence the static difference. According to the pie chart, the southern market share takes up about triple the amount of the northern side of Vietnam, whereas exporting only accounted for the minimal part. Seasonality also found inside the data. However, the first analysis regarding the mother should also be performed at change and data points in near future may vary. Chances and recommendations are also diverse by the nature of each statistical components. Quarterly report could come in handy for the crisis identification, which are crucial for Đức Đạt. From 2020, the company had not recovered from the COVID-19 pandemic breakdown, acting simultaneously to that. A call for the market stimulation or export is in the likelihood to be necessary for the company growth and recovery financially. Thank you for listening.